Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here for our Women's History Month program, one of many that the Denver Public Library is going to hold this month. This one is fired up and ready to go, the photography of Patricia Duncan, as you see the photo of her with her wonderful book, Defining the Times. Along with me is Ashara, and they work at the Central Library and Books and Borrowing, and I am at the Pauline Robinson Library at 33rd and Holly. Thank you, Ashara, for your assistance with the Zoom and the slide presentation. A few reminders. I'll ask that everyone please stay muted until it is Q&A. And now we're going to get started. I'm going to introduce Pat, and she's going to talk about her book and some of the photography, and then we'll have questions. I'd like to first share with you the mission statement or the purpose statement of the Denver Public Library's Women's History Month. Denver Public Library is celebrating Women's History Month to highlight and elevate the diverse history of all women, including trans, non-binary, and fluid experiences across the gender spectrum. We aim to expand the idea of what women's history means and to highlight individuals and stories that you may not have heard of because of systemic racism and colonism. Now allow me to introduce today's author, Mrs. Patricia Duncan. Patricia Pat Duncan was born and raised in Denver, Colorado, and has impressed everyone from childhood friends to business associations with her passion and commitment to her dreams. Her dreams included becoming a flight attendant with the Banff International Airways and also careers with United States Football League, Bill Pickett Invitational Rodeo, Denver Nuggets, Colorado Rockies, and Federal Express. Pat's first purchase of a digital camera was a way for her to start documenting her events. It wasn't long before she and others realized she had a real talent for photography. Having a mentor with her every step of the way, she moved from the ranks of being an amateur photographer to an award-winning photographer. She became a contributing photographer for 3 major Denver Black newspapers, the Denver Weekly News, the Urban Spectrum, and the African American Voice. Later, Pat realized she can use these skills and opportunities to create a historical document featuring the first African American president, President Barack Obama. I will stop here and allow Pat to continue. Let's hear more from Pat and her phenomenal book, Defining the Times.
Hello, everyone. I don't know. I can't see you. I don't know if you can see me. So Shar, maybe you want to change the screen. But I am happy to be here. I would first like to thank librarian Leslie Williams for reaching out and giving me this opportunity to talk about my book, Defining the Times, talk about my journey. I am a native of Denver, Colorado. I was raised 32 blocks from the library. And so it is really an awesome and a great opportunity to talk to you. And so I started the journey. My parents always bought me cameras. My dad always bought me cameras. And for some reason, I didn't think about this until here recently. And growing up, my mother was a caterer. And so she always planned parties. And then when I got grown and married, then I would plan parties. Well, my sister was the first Black Secretary of State of Colorado. So it's Colorado Women's History Month. And so she's part of history. And unfortunately, she died suddenly on July 19th, 1999. But she accomplished great things in the 6 years that she was in office. So she had always said about starting a company. And I said, Vicki, I have time. And, but I didn't have time. And so she died. So in 2001, I started my company. It's called Ijava Event Planning, which Ijava means a wish fulfilled. So I went on and I did concerts, and I did an event, and this photographer came to the event and was taking pictures. And I asked him, I said, I need to start documenting my pictures at my events. Do you mind teaching me? And his name is Buddy Baker. And he said, oh, I would love to. So as I would do events, I would send him my pictures. And he would say, they're a little blurry, you have too much space, you have too much ceiling. And I said, oh no, this is not gonna work. And he said, I'm not gonna allow you to give up on you. And that was 20 years ago. And so I started taking pictures. I would go to events and stuff. And so I started submitting my pictures to the Urban Spectrum and then the Denver Weekly News. And they loved my work. So I became a contributing photographer for both of them, a lot for the Urban Spectrum. And so I went on and took, local events. Well, my first assignment in 2006 was photographing Barack Obama. And I asked I said, who is Barack Obama? And she said, you don't know who he is? And I said, no. She said, just go do your assignment. And that's what I did. Never would have known that Barack Obama was going to be a project that I never finished. It's going to be this book of him. So I went on and he came here a lot. And I did pictures and did the Democratic Convention. And so I had enough pictures that I could do a book. I said, okay, there is my project. My project is going to be a coffee table book of Barack Obama, the first Black president, because now I'm on board that I know who I'm going to vote for. So time goes on. I have everything. I started a publishing company. So everything's falling in line, but I still procrastinate. I still quit. I do everything that's negative to complete a project. That is where I was. So in 2000, and I started this in 2008. In 2010, somewhere along the line, I got an investor, and I think that was it. Not really sure. But on August 15th of 2010, my mother was in hospice, dying of cancer. And I would go every day and work on the book, and then she would say, okay, it's Ruby time, not Barack time. And I would put down the book. And I went to her and I said, hey, Mom, guess what? I finished my part of the book because I had to capture all the pictures and edit them and all that. And she said, oh, Tricia, I knew you would do it. I knew you would finish it in grand fashion. And 8 days, on August 23rd, she passed away. From that day, I never looked back. I got my first, what they call a review copy, on February 15th. And I'm sorry, still, even though it is 10 years ago, it's still emotional for me. And the reason why is because I held my validation in my hand. I had finally validated myself. I had finally finished a project, a great project. I finally had belief in myself. All the things that my sister had told me. And she told me, she said, if you work hard, believe in you, and keep God first in your life, you will persevere. And I was holding my perseverance in my hand, was my book. So on went the journey of Barack Obama. And the name of the book was called A Defining Moment. And the title came from Barack Obama. At the DNC, in his speech, he said, a defining moment, and he went on to say something else. And so that's how I came up with the title, A Defining Moment. So in 2012, it was nominated for an NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Literary Work of a Debut Author. In 2013, I sold the book out, and the book was placed in the Library of Congress in 2013. And so I was good. I had validated myself, and I was like, I get it. I get it, what it's like to believe in you. Because you got to remember, I didn't go to college because college just wasn't where I wanted to be. I didn't know what I wanted to be, actually. And I found out in this validation that being a flight attendant was my college, because I was going all around the world and I was meeting people. And people were my history lessons. Going to different countries, that was my history lesson. Because a book is somebody else telling the story. Well, all of my books are Barack Obama telling the story. Why? Because they are his speeches. So he's telling you the story that you can believe. So I went on, I wasn't going to do any more books. And I had a girlfriend challenge me. And she said, oh, in the meantime, I paid off my investors too. And so she said, well, why don't you do another book? And I said, no, I'm done. I know who Pat Duncan is. I don't need to do another book. And she said, well, what do you have to lose? And I said, I don't have anything to lose. So I came back. I came out with a soft cover called A Defining Moment. It was the soft cover of the hardcover. I sold it out in 6 months. So the reason you guys aren't seeing these covers and seeing these books is because you can't get them. So why show you something you can't get? I'm just trying to show you the journey, how we got to where we are now or where we're going. And so Barack Obama started his campaign with Fired Up, Ready to Go, with a little lady in Atlanta, Georgia. And she has now just passed away at 104. But she said to him, are you fired up and ready to go? And so that is the first chapter of my books, of all of them, Defining Moment and now Defining the Times. So, I sat back and I thought about it. And all the time I'm like, well, let me keep adding just in case I decide that I want to do another book. So I just keep adding, because A Defining Moment stopped at the inauguration. So it was just basically the campaign of Barack Obama. So I kept adding on and adding on and adding on. And I was talking to somebody there again, and they're like, Pat, finish out the journey. You only have him as a candidate, but you don't have him as president. I said, okay, you're right. That's what I'm going to do. So that's what I did. So Defining the Times is the second half of really A Defining Moment. So we know Defining the Moment is not ever coming back in print. So that's the first half of Defining the Times. The second half is President Barack Obama. So you have candidate and your president. And so now you go on a journey of him as president. He loved Colorado. He just loved Colorado. And so a lot of the pictures are in Colorado. So you have the DNC speeches, and these are speeches in their entirety. So the 2008 Democratic Convention, as we all know, was historic for Colorado. It was the 100th Democratic Convention, and nominating the first African-American president. So I have all of the speeches in their entirety from every day of it. Okay, so now we have where he's up for re-election, which is also, again, historic for his African-American going for re-election. And so Defining the Times is everything that has to do with the president, with Barack Obama. his entire 8 years. So everything that you could think about Barack Obama is in my book. Pictures, speeches, and a friend of mine invited me to go to the White House for President Obama's holiday reception. And it was unbelievable. It was very surreal. So we have to go through Secret Service, which, I was so used to going through. And we finally got through everything. And the first people that I see are the dogs. And being a dog lover, I love playing with Bo and Sonny. So Bo, was the oldest dog, got tired and he went on his way. And so the trainer came and said, yeah, he's moody like that. If he gets tired of you, he will go away. And so my girlfriend said, okay, we're missing out. I said, oh yeah, you're right. So we go up the stairs and I stand at the door. And I stand there, and after a couple of minutes, she says to me, why are you just standing here? I said, because I'm waiting for Secret Service to come open the door. She's like, what? I said, yeah, we're at the White House. They have to come open the door. She said, no. We're at the president's home. That just happens to be the White House. You are an invited guest. You are to open the door and go through. And I'm just like, there again, I just stood there. So we went through and I was like in awe. And I brought my camera, but I could have brought my bigger camera and just used a short lens. So in the book, you see the White House as a guest and not as a tourist. Because, we didn't have any ropes up or anything. The only place we couldn't go was upstairs to the quarters. And my favorite room was the Vermeil room. It is the First Lady's room. And the pictures of the First Ladies are fabulous, especially Eleanor Roosevelt in that black and white. And she has all these different scenes like in her picture. And then, excuse me, and then Jackie Onassis, it's just amazing. So we go in the East Room, which is the largest room in the White House, and we eat. And my girlfriend said, well, don't you want to talk about your book? And I said, no, I'm not here to talk about my book. I'm here to enjoy doing something that people wish they could do. They wish they could do it. And look at where I am. So I was drinking some spiked eggnog. And she says to me, the president and the first lady is coming down from the quarters. I was like, well, I've seen Barack Obama so many times, and I had thousands of pictures of him, but I've never seen him in the White House. So I grabbed her hand, I said, let's go. Because I knew exactly where to stand. So I get up there. My battery in my phone is dead now. My battery in my camera is dead. But I'm okay. Maybe it's because of Spike Eggnog. So they come down and Mrs. Obama speaks first, and then the president speaks. Well, the night before, I had been to an event with Governor Hickenlooper at the time. And I was telling him I was going to the White House. And he said, how did you get to go to the White House? I'm governor. And I said, because I kind of like that. And he just fell out laughing. So as they came around, I stuck my hand out and said, thank you, Mrs. Obama, for having me in your home. When President Obama came around, I stuck my hand out and I was loud. I said, President Obama, the room went quiet. I said, Governor Hickenlooper wanted to know how I got to come to your reception, and he did. He said, oh, you could have brought him along. We would have let him in. That's I dating all you guys. Because I would have never in this life sober said that to the President of the United States. So that's just a part of one of my little journeys. And so we go and we're at the end. And we're at the end of defining the times. Defining the Times came out in 2017, and I sat on it. I didn't really tell people about it. Why, I don't know. It is an amazing book. It's an award-winning book. I don't know why I sat on it, but I did. And now, 5 years later, it is almost sold out. And it is also going out of print. Why? Because I'm coming out with a new book called Defining the Times, Living Life with Hope, Compassion, and Change. So if you know anything about Barack Obama, you know those are the three things that he is. So this book is 384 pages. I have now added John Lewis's letter and the eulogy, added Newtown, added Charleston, added the DNC 2020, which was the first DNC that I wasn't able to go to. So I really don't have any pictures, but I do have pictures of President Biden now. And so you'll get the speeches of all of them, the Obamas and VP Harris, and of course, President Biden. And the book ends with the inauguration speech of Biden. And I had this book reviewed, and that's why I came out with it. And they said what was missing, I put in there what was missing. And so I realized that the book, the history lesson, is bigger than me. And this time it is going to stay in print. I started a new publishing company called PSS Publishing, which is, to just make it simple, it comes from letter writing, postscript. It's where I got the PSS, and plus it's the initials of my name and my two daughters. And we want to tell us untold story. We want to inspire you to tell your story, because we all have a story. And you never know. It may be a huge hit, but it may only hit one person, and that's okay. But you got to tell it. You got to tell your story. And so that's coming under my new publishing company. And then until getting President Obama, it's been relevant in the political world since 2004. So I did a little small coffee table book of his speeches. So I put my pictures with his speeches. So, have 2004, 2008, 12, 16, and 20. And that both of those are coming out on late spring, early summer. So I just want to say thank you. I hope that I can inspire somebody that maybe didn't have belief in them, that if they take those three things that I told them, self-belief, keep God first in your life, work hard, it's a great formula. It works, because I proved it works. So thank you so much. I hope you have questions. And Leslie, take it away.
Thank you so much, Pat. That was so interesting to hear the journey and hear more about defining the moment, and then the two books coming up. We do have a few of the photos that you were talking about on some slides. Do you mind if we share some of those and you tell us a little bit about them?
Oh, I'd be more, sure.
Awesome. This is the book cover of Defining the Times, Barack Obama, the historic journey of the first African-American president through the eyes of the Colorado photographer. Pat will let us know how we can get a copy of this book at the end of the presentation.
So, okay, this picture, the big picture is 16. So this is Obama looking back. So this is 2004 or 2006, actually, when I started taking the pictures. So this is 2006, this is 2012, this is 2016. So you're seeing him looking back on his journey.
Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. That's the three different heads you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Awesome.
So let's see. So we had another the Urban Spectrum was invited to his only fundraiser that President Obama did. And he had not, oh no, he had announced that he was running for president. So this was March of 2007. And so I asked, as he was coming around, I asked B, would she take a picture of me and the first Black president? And he got a kick out of that. And that's what this picture is. And then he signed it. I always use my press credentials. I didn't get them and not use them. I always use them. And this was in Pueblo. And I'd given it to one of his people. And I said, do you think he would sign this? And so they looked at it and they said, where did you take it? And I explained it to them. And then I forgot about it. And I went on and, covered the event. And I was packing up my gear and they came and they said, we have something for you. And this was my picture that he had signed. So once again, this was at the first rally that he did in Denver. And the guy on the right-hand side is Congressman Ed Perlmutter. That is the congressman that he came out to campaign for in 2006. This is President Obama walking out on stage at the 2008 Democratic Convention to accept the nomination of president.
That was here at Baja Stadium.
Right.
Awesome. Yeah.
Here
That's
in Denver, Colorado. Of course, this is everybody's favorite pictures are the girls when they were little girls. And they were just so cute. And it was really difficult to take pictures because all the delegates would get in our way. They were supposed to stay in their seats. And of course they did. And so it was really difficult to get pictures. So I was so excited to get the few that I did get, even after taking probably 200 pictures. This was one of my favorites.
They're so young right here.
They're so young. They're so young. So all of these pictures that we're showing you guys are in Defining the Times. Wow. This is of course, this is our capital, Denver. This is the largest campaign rally in political history. 101,000 people. And if you look, we can't really bring it up, but if you get the book, you'll see people all the way to the top of the stairs. And do you know, I saw some of those people and they heard every word of President Obama's speech. That is how good his tech team were.
Wow. Wow. That's beautiful.
So this is how it looked at Elitch's Gardens. This was the opening of the convention for media. So media, we kind of had our own little day to, mingle, get to meet other media outlets from, other states. Of course, Proud is in Denver. And so it kicked off with Media Day at Elitch's Garden. Or it was Elitch's Gardens then, still there. Okay, so this is the map. Okay, this is the first map on how the United States voted. So if you go and you look, so blue, of course, is Democrat, R is Republican. So you can go and see the electorals. We'll talk about that in a minute. Then Obama and then McCain and what they got in each state. And so you can see just really how, it was historic, the number of votes, but actually the second time he got more votes than more people came out the second time than the first time. And the majority of them were women.
Wow.
Okay, so this paper is called the Certificate of Vote. And normally, under normal circumstances, you would never ever see this, or it just never would come up. So how it works, and so in my first book, I called it Signed, Sealed, Delivered. And so the electorals sign this, the Certificate of Vote, and then it's put into an envelope, it's sealed, then it's put into a lockbox with a lock on it, and it's delivered to the Capitol. And this is what certifies the President of the United States. And so we have a little excerpt, once again, in Defining the Times also, that explains to you the Electoral College. A lot of people don't understand the Electoral College, but we explain to you what the Electoral College is. And so this is the paper that every state signs, all 50 states. So this is the Vermeil Room. Oh my God, it is the most incredible room. I just wish more people can see it. Unfortunately, when you go see it as a tourist, you know, you have the rope, so you can't really go in there. But man, it's just surreal. That's all I can say. It is just really, you know, surreal. I just found myself, after I took the pictures, I just found myself just kind of standing there and absorbing where I was. I absorbed every minute of being in that White House as a guest. Once again, so the one on the left is Defining the Times, is the big book that I was telling you about. And like I said, it's 384 pages. And then the one on the right is the smaller book with his speeches that are in their entirety. And so I'm excited about the smaller book just because no other president, no other political figure has done that. Barack Obama, former President Barack Obama, is truly historic in so many different ways. And believe it or not, even people that were Republicans bought my book because of the history. So it kind of hits like 5 different, you know, categories: African American history, political history, Black interest, photography. And I'm really proud. That's why I started the publishing company. It's because I didn't want anybody to own my pictures. So I never shopped my book to a publisher. I published my own books.
That's fantastic. Let's give Pat a round of applause. You're so wonderful. This has been amazing, amazing. I've learned so much, and this is just awesome. I'm so glad we were able to have this. We were going to have this back in 2020, and then we shut down. So I'm so glad that we were able to have this. Are there any questions for Pat? You can put them in the chat, or you can take yourself. You can put them in the chat if you have any questions. Pat, I have a question. How do we get a copy of this Defining the Times?
So I'll put my email in the chat, and then just send me an email, and then we'll communicate, and I'll get it to you. Because like I only have probably 60 copies left, and then it's going out of print.
Is this your last book?
So I'm trying to, I have all these pop-ups. So this, for me, is my last book. I feel I have completed the journey for everyone of President Barack Obama, former President Barack Obama. I feel everything that you will see in the new Defining the Times is everything. Everything that was really important or relevant or that was covered by the news is in that book. And, you know, when you go back and you read Newtown, it's going to make you cry because it's a time you wanted to forget. But just the words that he said to those parents of those children. The Charleston eulogy, you know, it's hurtful, but it's just his wording. He's probably the wordiest person I have ever covered. And so his speeches average like 8 pages, but they're just so inspiring. And so, like I said, he is an historic figure they can't take him out of history. even though they would like to, they would love to write him out of history. And that is another reason why defining the times is so relevant, because you can't write it out of history because you didn't publish the book. I did. So if you want to have the history of Barack Obama, Defining the Times is your book. And so if you're an author out there that wants to do a book, I'm your girl. I have a great team. We just published our first new author that's coming out here in the spring. And so there again, I'll put my email in there, and I'd love to talk to you about it. I might not be your person, but at least I can tell you how to get started. And that's the key, is how to get started. So once again, I'd like to say thank you. I hope that maybe I've inspired you to do, or to start believing in yourself and to do some of the things that you want to do, that you're not waiting on someone to validate you or give you approval to do it. That's what I did. I was 55 years old before I finished my first book. So now I can say, if Pat wants to do it, I can do it. I just got started. So Leslie, thanks again for having me. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Stay warm. And like I said, you have my email address to stay in contact with me. And Leslie will share your email addresses if that's okay. And I'll send you out when you can pre-order the book if you'd like.
Yes, I dropped a couple of links. Thank you, Pat. That was wonderful. We had one more question. Will you photograph women for next year's Women's History Month?
Huh? I would be more than happy to.
I have put some links in the chat. One is a survey. The library would love to hear what you thought about today's program. We'd love feedback, as well as ideas for other programming. This helps us figure out what other things we want to bring to the city of Denver. So please complete the survey. And I also put in the chat our Women's History Month website for our rest of our programming that we have, that also has books and articles and things in celebration of women's history. If there are no more questions, we're going to end today's program. Thank you so much for participating. And please stay connected with Denver Public Library as often as you can. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much.